Hey everyone! Today I'm going to show you an interesting mini server project based on a ZimaBoard 2, but just building a basic mini NAS would be too easy, so I decided to design and manufacture a custom enclosure for it. The goal is to turn it into a home server, media server and a small home lab machine, all in a compact and good looking form factor that fits nicely into a home interior. So what exactly is the ZimaBoard 2? ZimaBoard 2 is a single board server based on x86 architecture. Unlike a Raspberry Pi, it supports SATA, PCIe and can handle real server workloads thanks to an N150 processor, which is quite popular among home lab enthusiasts. You can easily run a NAS, Docker containers, a media server or a smart home system on it, all while keeping power consumption low and noise minimal. Now let's quickly go over the specs. As soon as I unboxed the board, I realized it already had everything needed to build a compact storage system. The kit includes all the cables and mounting hardware required to create a mini NAS with two 3.5-inch drives and an SSD using a PCI expansion card in an open configuration. I first assembled it in an open setup just to see how it looks. It's great for testing and learning, but for something that would sit in a living space, it wasn't ideal. So I decided to design a proper enclosure. Since I have a 3D printer, I chose to design and print the case myself. Here were the main requirements: support all hardware features, use the included accessories, SATA cables, PCI SSD adapter, riser cable. Keep the design minimalistic and compact. At first, I planned to stack the hard drives horizontally, like a sandwich, and use a single 120mm fan to cool everything. But that layout wasted a lot of space around the board, so I switched to a vertical drive layout. This allowed me to use a 92mm fan position in a way that cools both the drives and the board efficiently. The included PCI expansion card turned out to be too long and thick due to its heatsink, so it simply didn't fit in my design. I ended up ordering a more compact 2280 SSD adapter from AliExpress. Honestly, who even uses longer SSDs than 2280? After refining the concept, I ended up with two-part enclosure, a functional internal frame holding all components, and an outer shell purely for aesthetics. I also added a few extra design considerations: proper airflow for cooling both the drives and the aluminum board, tool-less quick-release hard drive mounting, the board position and the bottom so cables don't interfere with drive removal. Here are the components used in this build: ZimaBoard 2, SATA cable with power for 2 drives, power adapter, PCI adapter for 2 M2 SSDs, Noctua and F89 fan, a bunch of screws. I had to make a custom adapter cable for the fan because the ZimaBoard uses a GST 1.25 connector. You can find ready-made ones on AliExpress, but they are overpriced, so I soldered my own using GST wires and reused a connector from a Noctua cable. For the front panel design, I took inspiration from a video of Christian Selleck, who has recreated the Apple cheese grater style in his DIY front panel PC case. I really liked that look, so I adapted it for this build. The result turned out great, minimalistic, clean and functional. It also allows good airflow while hiding internal components and saving material. Since all external ports are at the back, the SATA and power connectors are located at the front of the board. Because the SATA cables are short, I designed the drives to be inserted from the back. The fan is placed at the front, pulling air through the case and exhausting it out the back. The SATA cables are fixed into place using simple clips on the internal frame, no extra parts needed. I also designed full drive trays with rails. The drives slide in and lock without screws, similar to server G-Bot systems. Getting the tolerances right took some time and a few failed prints. The PCI SSD adapter is placed in a separate section, so airflow better and it's easier to reach. For the fan, I designed a 27mm mount to accommodate the 25mm fan plus anti-vibration pads. The frame is secured inside the case using 2 rear screws that also hold the feet. To remove the frame, you just unscrew them. Once the design was done, I sent everything to the slicer. The total weight of the case is around 700 grams. During the design, I tried to avoid the need for supports, so there is only one area where support is required for the PCI riser connection. I made the surface slightly rough to hide layer lines and give it a unique texture. Then print time. I wanted a metallic finish, but didn't have a right filament, so I painted it instead. After sanding some imperfections, I applied a few coats of metallic paint. And the result was surprisingly close to anodized aluminum. Assembly time. After assembly, I connected it to the TV to access the BIOS and adjust the fan curve. I set the minimum speed of 1200 RPM to improve cooling. During RAID rebuilding, the drives reached a maximum of 40 degrees Celsius, which is a solid result. Next, I launched pre-installed ZimaOS to see what it offers. I configured RAID 1 using two 8TB drives and later added a 512GB SSD. I wanted to set up a cache on it, but unfortunately, I couldn't find a way to use it as a cache in ZimaOS, so I just mounted it as a regular drive. Then I tested Jellyfin, the most interesting part. I installed it via the App Store, adjusted container paths and enabled VAPI hardware acceleration. I tested 10-bit 4K HEVC playback and it performed great. The GPU handled transcoding smoothly at around 10 megabit per second and other bit rates without issues. I only tested with a single client though. I also measured power consumption. Honestly, I was surprised. Just 8 watts at idle with 2 drives. That's about 3 times less than my main server. This makes it a great option for people who want a compact, quiet home server for photos, movies and smart home systems. It can even compete with ready-made solutions like Ugreen NAS Sync, which costs almost twice as much, has a weaker CPU and only one 2.5 gigabit port, while ZimaBoard has 2 and can reach up to 5 gigabit per second with proper configuration. For around 300 euros you can get a version of 16 gigabytes of RAM, which is enough for serious workloads. Another advantage is built-in eMMC storage, available in 32 or 64 GB, so you can skip buying an SSD and still run your OS and containers. If you decide to recreate my project, you will need to get a standard version of the board without the HDD rack tray. You will also need a few screws, and if you want to use SSD, you will need to order a PCI adapter from AliExpress. I'll leave all the links and specification in the description, along with a promo code and a link that will give you a $15 discount when purchasing the board from the official website. In the future, I plan to try another OS, maybe through NAS, and use this as a backup server. That's it for today. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think about this build. Is it worth it? Don't forget to like, subscribe and check out my other videos where I built my main server and even used as a gaming machine with Unraid. More interesting stuff coming soon.